Hello, everybody. Welcome all to the EA Global Summit 2020. This is Madhav from the organizing team. Just to share with you all, we have been seeing a fantastic response for the summit with over 1,000 registrations for the conference. And there have been some exciting discussions that are going on in the sophisticated collaboration platform we have created using Microsoft Teams. So please share your questions in the channel shared in the chat window. While the speakers will answer a few questions during the sessions. I mean, if you have more questions or if you want to discuss later with the speakers, you can always continue the discussions like every other attendees are doing. You can go ahead and look at the kinds of discussions that we have been seeing from the morning. And in this session, we have Ryan from Sparx Services North America and Nizam from Sparx Collaborate team to talk on Sparx cloud architecture platform, including EA via AppStream. Now, over to Ryan.
Thanks, Madhav. Can you go ahead and make me the presenter?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, welcome. My name is Ryan Schmier. I'm from Sparx Services North America. A little more introductions in a minute. In this session, there's a few things we're going to be covering. We're going to start with talking about the Sparx Cloud Architecture Platform and what it means to run Sparx in the cloud. We'll talk a little bit about migrating your on-premise repository to the cloud. A lot of folks are doing cloud migration of their enterprise applications, and you can do that with Sparx as well, and we'll help you understand that a little bit more. We'll have a demo about delivering Enterprise Architect through a browser using AWS AppStream, and then how operating Sparx in the cloud can help develop a more integrated experience, pulling together Collaborate and Enterprise Architect even closer than they are today. And then we'll wrap up with a little discussion about how to get started on your cloud journey. So with that, let me introduce myself. My name is Ryan Schmier. I'm the Director of Operations at Sparx Services North America. And Sparx Services North America is really focused on helping organizations drive productivity and value in their architecture teams. The whole purpose of architecture is to help your organizations understand where they're going and the things that need to change in order to get there. And so what you're going to see in this presentation, as well as some of the others today, represent some of that work. It's really focused less on the tools and more about what you can do with them. At the end of the day, you're there to generate value for your organizations, and we're here to help you do that. So I'd also like to introduce Nizam Mohammed, the product owner from Collaborate. Nizam, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thanks, Ryan. This is Nizam, and I'm from the Collaborate team. So Collaborate is a sharing and collaboration platform for Enterprise Architect. And in this session, we'll be talking about how that, along with the EA and Pro Cloud Server, forms a complete package that could be hosted in cloud environments to make it readily available for people to kickstart their architecture work. Thanks, Ryan.
Fantastic. So let's get started. Dun, 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 the wait is over. The Sparx architecture platform is now available in the cloud in a secure, hosted, managed, and supported environment. So folks have been asking for this for a long time. They love Sparx. They love the modeling tools. They love the robust features and the things you can do with it, but they're looking for it to move into the cloud where it can leverage the cloud scale resources in a secure way to help drive that collaboration and agility that modern organizations are looking for. The Sparx Cloud Architecture Platform includes the full suite of Sparx products. It includes Enterprise Architect, the modeling tool. It includes the Pro Cloud Server to allow you to connect to your repositories remotely and integrate with third-party systems. It includes Collaborate to enable you to curate your architecture content out to the entire enterprise, not just to your architects. Okay, so let's jump into it. What's this thing look like? So when we talk about the Sparx Cloud Architecture Platform, you can think of it as a pre-configured installation of the full suite of Sparx tools. Within the cloud environment, you have your architecture repository, you have ProCloud Server, you have Collaborate, which are sort of the hosted components. These are the things traditionally that folks would be installing in servers in their data centers. What we've done is we've enabled that in a cloud service. So instead of having to set it all up yourself, you can in a simple subscription have a full Sparx platform provision to you. Most folks are still accessing this and doing their modeling via the Sparx desktop client, and for a lot of organizations that works well. We're going to discuss a little later on in this presentation that there's now a second option in terms of delivering the Enterprise Architect modeling experience through a streaming EA client delivered in a browser. The great thing about leveraging the Sparx architecture platform is it enables you to spend more time doing architecture and less time administering your platforms. And we'll talk about this again when we get to the end about how to start the cloud journey and why to start it. In most organizations, the Sparx platform is self-administered to a great extent by the architecture team itself. And architects spend a good amount of time making sure that the system is patched and upgraded and backed up and performing well and doing all the things that it needs to do. Doing those administrative activities takes away from the time that you can spend solving your business's problems. And at Sparx Services North America, that bothers us. Architects are some of the most valuable resources in your organization, and they should be spending their time doing architecture, solving your business's problems, helping you deal with change and disruption, helping explore new business opportunities for your company. Some of the benefits that the cloud architecture platform provides: your EA repositories hosted on the cloud. We manage them, we handle all the backups, recovery, that sort of thing. So you don't have to worry about your data storage. Your Enterprise Architect licenses. For those of you who are using floating Enterprise Architect licenses, you know those are stored in a key store. Move the key store to the cloud as well. This means that even if your architects are working remotely, which many of us are right now due to our fun little global remote work experiment going on, you have access to both your keys and your data. So your architects can effectively work remotely when they can't be in the office. Secure access via SSL, HTTPS connections to ensure that data going from your end users to the repository is secure the entire way. It's a robust cloud deployment on the AWS cloud, using scalable compute services that enable us to monitor performance of your system and ensure that you're getting the performance and experience that you're looking for. And most importantly, when you're leveraging the Sparx Cloud Architecture Platform, your architects have access to their models, to their data, to do their job wherever they are, whenever they need to do it, without disruption and the challenges caused by connecting to on-premise resources. Let's pop open the hood. Let's look at what's in here. So as we look at the components, what makes up the cloud architecture platform? There's a lot of stuff on this chart. Let me try and break it down for you a little bit. At the core of it, you have the application server, which hosts the Collaborate web components. It's where ProCloud Server runs. This is the main integration point. That application server then connects to your database repositories, your EA repositories and databases, your Collaborate databases. All that is hosted in the cloud. You connect to those either through the AppStream client or through desktop clients. We do that. We can do that through things like Active Directory, SAML integration to help provide that unified login and administrative experience. This is the core platform here. Up at the top, you've got the architects and modelers that create, update, change your models. You also have business users leveraging the Collaborate interface that have access to the content as well in a user-friendly way. For those of you who are going to be attending some more of the sessions this afternoon, there will be discussions of integrations. So there's a lot of value in architecture about integrating data and looking at data from different perspectives and different sources. One of the things we offer as a part of the Cloud Architecture Platform is the ability to integrate with your other tools and platforms that you use to manage your IT and business environment. Things like Confluence, Jira for managing your requirements, Azure DevOps for your DevOps pipeline and engineering, ServiceNow. We've got a whole session today about how to integrate EA with ServiceNow to pull the richness of data from your CMDB back into EA so you can model it. The Cloud Architecture Platform is ideal for integrating with third-party systems because it's always there, it's always running. When you close your laptop and go home for the night, the Cloud Platform's still running. It can still integrate, it can still bring data updates in to allow you access to real-time data and integration across your enterprise. So managed cloud service. This is a little different from a Sparx perspective. In the past, when people have implemented Sparx, they purchased software, and they've gotten the EA licenses and the Pro Cloud Server subscription and Collaborate. Then they've had to go install them in their own environments and administer them themselves. This is a slightly different model. This is a subscription model, which allows you to bypass a lot of those administrative activities and focus on doing better architecture. So how does this work? What you see in the middle column, this is what we do when we manage your platform for you. We set up when we run the infrastructure. We get the repository set up. We handle the backup and maintenance on those repositories. We'll handle the configuration and upgrades of Pro Cloud Server and upgrades of your Collaborate software. Whenever Sparx releases new features, security patches, we'll make sure that you have the latest and greatest software. We'll set up your floating license servers, make sure that your licenses are there, configured correctly, and that you can access your licenses. Setting up SSL, encryption, that sort of thing. That's an administrative task. Your architects really shouldn't be focused on that. Let's handle that for you. And then the Enterprise Architect client software, we help you with acquiring the license, upgrading renewals, whatever you need to do there. Well, if we're doing that, what does that mean you can do? That means you can focus more on solving architecture problems, solving your business problems, modeling out your business processes, analyzing those new opportunities, communicating with stakeholders using Collaborate instead of focusing on administering Collaborate. That's really important because you need your architects more than ever right now, and you need them focused on solving your business problems. Now, with this solution, we're helping you do that. Okay, great. That was a lot of stuff. I'm going to pause for a second because for a lot of people, they're not ready to adopt a full Sparx platform. Maybe you've been using EA for a while. Maybe you have an on-premise repository. Maybe you have existing models running on-premise in a data center someplace. What if all you really need is to move what you have to the cloud? That's okay. We got you covered. We can help you do that too. In addition to the full cloud architecture platform, we also have an offering of just a hosted Sparx repository. This is a little bit smaller than what you saw before. You'll notice there's no Collaborate in this. What you're seeing is basically the same infrastructure you would have if you're running EA on-premise connected to a shared repository. We're just doing the cloud migration of what you have today. You get your architecture models hosted in the secure cloud environment, but nothing to install in your data center. If you're a new team, you want to get up and running quickly, provisioning lead times for IT departments, particularly right now, can be rather lengthy. We can get you up and running quickly in a matter of a day or two. If you have stuff on premise today, we've had a lot of customers come to us and say, hey, you know what? I've got an on-premise repository. I've got an on-premise key store. However, a couple of months ago, I sent all my architects home to work remotely and they can't access their data. Wow, that's problematic. We can help you migrate very quickly your current on-premise Sparx implementation to the cloud to enable your resources to regain access, regain productivity quickly. But most importantly, why would you want to migrate your architecture repository to the cloud? Well, cost is the number one reason. If you consider the cost of running Sparx on-premise, you've got the hardware and infrastructure in your data centers. Those things depreciate, they have to be refreshed. You've got to incur those capital costs. You also have the administrative costs of the people who are the DBAs and sysadmins who are running those systems. You have the folks within your architecture team who are providing guidance in terms of what needs to be done. With this option, you have the ability to move out of the administration business and move into the architecture business, which is where your architecture teams should be focusing. Let us take care of the admin stuff. We do it for a lot of companies. Let us do it for you. When will the EA client be available as software in the cloud? Well, how about today? We now have the ability to deliver the full Enterprise Architect client via a browser using AWS AppStream. And we're going to show you this in just a minute. This is really exciting. We have a lot of people who for various reasons struggle with configuring EA to run effectively on their desktops. Maybe it's they don't have administrative access to upload software, or there's ODBC driver incompatibility issues, things with Windows. Maybe you're not on Windows at all. Maybe you're running a Mac or a Chromebook. Have any of you tried to run EA on a Chromebook? We have. It actually works pretty well. So I'm going to hand over right now to Nizam, and he's going to actually show you what it's like to run Enterprise Architect in the cloud via browser. Nizam?
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. So hello, everyone. So further to what Ryan was mentioning, we've been seeing a significant progression in the way things are moving to cloud, and you all will be available with the recent proceedings. Like everyone is working from home, connecting from remote, and moving things to cloud at a much faster rate than we have seen ever before. And all our past cloud offerings have been like moving your infrastructure to cloud. So we usually call it a PaaS, but we were still sticking to Enterprise Architect as an installed application. But with some recent improvements and recent innovations from the likes of AWS and Azure, we've got a fantastic way to stream your applications through the web clients as well. And as Ryan mentioned, this kind of takes away a number of overheads. So we have seen and worked with teams who had real difficulties in catching up with an updated version of a software, or setting up a patch, or installing an application in a new user's machine where the image doesn't include one. So going through the process of re-imaging and resetting up the software has been a real bottleneck. It's been slowing down things drastically. And also maintaining and administering the infrastructure has been a real pain. What has now happened is we are just focusing on EA application streamed through a cloud now. But what this means is we have already done done and proven that all the infrastructure is now available on cloud, and it could be a turnkey solution. So you could just connect to a repository, configure your role-based access control, and just start working. So this solution has been there for a while, and we've seen so many EA users, really large companies from across the world, moving to this solution. And now added to this entire setup that we have had for a while, we have now got the couple of breakthroughs. That's what we are going to share now. And the first one being streaming EA through your web application. So I've got a small illustration in which you see a Mac machine, and this is one of the problems that we come across repeatedly, where I got a Mac machine. How do I set up EA? Yes, you can use a Wine crossover, but at the pace in which the Mac is getting updated and the Wine is still a plugin, or it's an add-on, it's not keeping up to pace as a Mac update, and it's always been an overhead. So what we are seeing now is, I just want to go from a simple link and show you how on a single click you'll be able to go to AppStream, and you can use your corporate credentials to log into it. And it's a personalized workspace where you have the enterprise architect client opening up for you in your web browsers. So I've got the screen showing you that I'm accessing EA through a web browser, and I can connect to any project that is accessible from a cloud. So I've got my demo model in a cloud environment as well, and I'm connecting to an enterprise architecture repository, which has a whole raft of things. So this has close to about 500 diagrams. This is just my example model, but still has quite a lot of information in it. It has like process diagrams and archivate and things like that. And now I'm just switching to full screen, and you can see that it is completely, it's now completely looking like a normal application that you would have installed in your desktop. So the guys that make like AWS and Azure, they've got some real advancements in this technology, and it's so seamless that it will feel like working in a normal installed application, but you're working from cloud. So just going back to the browser view to show I'm still in a browser and I'm accessing my EA. I can do whatever I want, update my diagram, update my properties. And once I'm done, I just log out and my application and session ends. So the whole setup, including your, including the like license configuration and software installation, updates, maintenance, everything is taken care by experts. As Ryan said, like you don't have to worry about keeping up to pace with those, going back to your infrastructure provider to re-image a new installer and things like that. All those things are now taken care by like experts, and all you need to do is to have a subscription and start using your EA, and which is seamlessly integrated with the ProLaborate platform and the ProCloud server to integrate with various other tools as well. So that's the kind of experience we would like to start with. There's something exciting coming up later on, but I would like to pass it back to Ryan to give us a few additional pointers on this. Back to you, Ryan.
Gotta love that mute button. Okay, fantastic. Thanks, Nizam. So as you can see, we now have the ability to deliver Enterprise Architect via a browser on pretty much any device. That's an exciting development in this Sparx space. The question is, why would you want EA streaming clients? You know what? There's a lot of people who are happy running EA as a desktop app. It works for you. And so this isn't intended to be something that everyone's going to want. There are certain people who are just happy with what they have, and that's great. But there's a lot of folks who want to explore some other options, and we're here to help you do that. So, some of the benefits and some of the reasons why you might do this. One is it's a full EA experience. This isn't a light experience. This isn't a scaled down version of Enterprise Architect. This is full Sparx Enterprise Architect streaming through a browser. By co-locating your client in the cloud next to your repository, it runs faster. And this is something that really surprised us as we got to working on this, is how much faster it is when you've got a combination of cloud scale infrastructure and the low network latency of running EA in the cloud environment. You have access to cloud scale compute and memory resources. Just like anything else in the cloud, we can set up resource rules that enable it so if you're doing some very resource intensive work in EA, that you have access to more CPUs, more memory to be able to do that. You're not constrained by what's physically on your device. You have access to full cloud scale resources. You don't have software to install or ODBC drivers to configure. For enterprise deployments, this is a key challenge. If you don't have desktop or laptop images that are exactly the same in a very consistent way of deploying, there can be challenges for end users in trying to configure the Sparx platform. We've helped bypass that because running in the cloud, everybody's got the same environment. You're just using a browser to access stuff. It doesn't require administrative access on your device. Particularly government organizations and companies that have very strict security requirements, where they restrict what people can install on their desktop machines. It can be difficult to not only install Enterprise Architect and get it configured, but also run updates when new versions are available. This is something that's caused a lot of organizations to slow down the upgrade cycle. We have folks still on EA 14 because there's a whole process they've got to go through working with their IT organizations just to update their software install. With this solution, you don't need it. It's platform agnostic. As Nizam said, works on Macs, Chromebooks, even tablets. What we just showed, that was running on a Mac. I've actually run this on my iPad. Screen's a little small, I will admit that, but you have a full set of EA capabilities to do editing, to update your models, to create models anywhere, and you can do it on any type of device. Another great plus for using the AppStream or the streaming client instead of installed software is that we do the upgrades and patching for you. So if Sparx puts out a bug fix or security update or a new feature set, you don't have to have every one of your Enterprise Architect users go through the process of updating their software. We update the master image in AppStream, and that update is reflected to everyone the next time they log in. I'm going to hand it back over to Nizam at this point, and he's going to show you the next set of features, which is, okay, great. So I've got Collaborate running in the cloud, and that's available via a browser. If I've got EA then running through a browser as well, how can we begin integrating the experience? Once we've co-located these things in a cloud environment, there's some exciting new stuff that we can do, and we're excited to show it to you today. So Nizam, why don't you show us what you came up with?
Thanks, Ryan. So again, further to what we saw previously, Collaborate is the web platform which kind of curates and gives a simplified view to the stakeholders and to the end users. So in one hand, we have users who are so tech savvy, who want to know the nuances of enterprise architect and go to the trenches and do all the modeling. But on the other hand, we have a wider variety of audience who are kind of skeptical about going into the trenches, but they would like to have a simplified interface with some curated views, and that's where Collaborate came into picture. But what we are going to see now is how do we drive a modeling effort through a much simplified interface like Collaborate. So we still have the power of Enterprise Architect, but loading EA with all the toolboxes and all the profiles enabled also has proven to be overwhelming for some people. Like I'm saying, there are quite a lot of people who really love the extensive, comprehensive framework support in EA, but there are still a group of people who want to have very minimal set loaded and just work on it. And this quick demonstration will just show us how we can start from a simplified interface like this And here a modeler is looking at a diagram in Prolaborate. He sees that a business user or a non-technical user has added a comment saying there's probably a step that is missing here. And quickly he clicks on edit on that diagram, and when it's all in a cloud platform, we can quickly load Enterprise Architect as another tab in the browser. So imagine we don't need any applications installed, no dependency on any software. Quickly, the EA interface is loaded, but straight away taking him to that diagram. So there is no drilling through a number of packages, opening so many subfolders. The diagram opens in front of him. He could make the necessary changes, and he or she just saves the diagram here. So again, what we are trying to show is this is a fully equipped EA platform with all the capabilities. There's no minimized version or like a minified version, but it's a very simplified interface. So it opens the diagram, and once he makes the update, he just switches back to Prolaborate and does a refresh, and he sees the live diagram updated in Prolaborate. And then what he could quickly go and do is he could go back to the comment that he saw previously and just add an update saying that this change is done, so that the business user or the non-technical user will be notified that this change has been done, and they could do the approval, or they could just give their consent or approval to that process change. So we are kind of integrating the simplified views of Prolaborate with the seamless editing capabilities of EA and delivering them all in a single a web browser without any dependency on installed software. So this is again what this has been enabled because of the recent advancements in all the technology that the AWS and the Azure guys have been inventing, and we've been finding really innovative ways to integrate the thick client and the simplified view, also called Prolaborate, and make them seamlessly integrate. So this is again for the first time we are demonstrating in this session to show how a cloud move could make could also resolve a lot more issues that we've been seeing in the past. So with that said, I'll again pass it back to Ryan.
Fantastic, thank you. So, what you just saw, this is really big, and let's take a second to digest it. What we just did was we integrated the Prolaborate curated view experience that your business users need with your modeling experience for your architects into a single web-based user experience. Question is, why is that important? Well, I mentioned a little while ago that we're in an environment right now where you've got a lot of architects working from home, looking for ways to continue driving change and driving value within their organizations without being physically present. Many architects have come to us over the last couple of months and expressed some challenges because their go-to tool, which is a whiteboard and a marker, they don't have available to them right now. And that's the tool that they use for collaborating with their business users, collaborating with their stakeholders, brainstorming, iteratively developing their architectures, and figuring out what their businesses need. By bringing these two things together, what we're doing is we're enabling architects to better communicate and collaborate with their business stakeholders in an interactive way. You can do this while on a meeting, on a call like this. You can have a session where someone's walking through, looking at your models and providing real-time feedback to them, and you can fix them right there. Just open them up, fix them, get the feedback, get it done, move forward. And you can do it remotely. You can do it virtually. Your business users can be working from home, your architects can be working from home, and you can be just as productive as if you were standing in front of them. So that's a really exciting new development for everybody. So another key question that people have brought up said, okay, great, can I just do this myself? Sure, you can absolutely do this yourself. You can deploy the full Sparx platform in the cloud. The question is, why? Why would you want to? Granted, there's some organizations that for security reasons have the need to manage things themselves. But for a lot of organizations, administering their architecture platform is something they have to do, not something that they want to do. Let me explain to you why you might not want to set this up and run it yourself. So let me step you through the components. You have the core components of setting up the Sparx environment with Collaborate and Pro Cloud Server and some databases, and perhaps you have a dev test environment and a production environment. You've got policies and access controls and SSL certificates and single sign-on integration. You may have your desktop clients, you may have your streaming clients. Most organizations now have at least one integration between EA and something else, and so you have your integrators to set up, configure, and manage. Many organizations also have a set of data migration tools for pulling data in and out of their Sparx platform. That's just the platform, getting it all set up. There's 34 independent components that you got to put together and assemble and get configured right in order to make this platform work well. Once you get it set up, there's a whole list of administrative activities that are just part of running an IT platform like this. Question is, do you want your architecture team and the people in your organization building and configuring and managing your architecture platform for you? Or do you want them doing architecture and solving your business problems? For many organizations, the answer is the latter. It says, I want my architects focused on doing architecture. That's what they're here for. And so with the cloud solutions, we're enabling you to do that. We're taking the administrative burden and the setup and configuration and running of the platform. We're taking that off your plate so you can focus on doing the things that you do best. In addition to setting up the platform, by working with us, there's other services and things that we can help you out with as well. We can help you migrate data from your existing platforms and your existing tools, be those other architecture tools that you may have used in the past, or PDFs and Visio diagrams and Excel spreadsheets. We can help you get it into the Sparx platform. We can help you develop your company's architecture meta model so you have structure to your architecture data. We can help you integrate with third-party systems, not just the ones that we talked about on this presentation, but others as well. We can help you develop the custom reports and dashboards. If you have questions, if you have issues, we're available to help you with technical support as well. And then if you've got users who need to understand how to use the Sparx platform effectively to do modeling, to do collaboration, to do different types of architecture, we've got training and mentoring services available. All this really gets to the core purpose of why we're here. We're here to help architects be more productive in adding value to their companies. And so part of that is the Sparx software. We now have the hosted platform available. We also have a series of services and experiences that can help take as much of the administrative burden off your plate as possible. So where do you go from here? If you're ready to start your Sparx Cloud journey, or if you want to talk to us a little bit more about what it would take to move your architecture platform to the cloud, we're here to work with you. We're here to help. If you're in US, Canada, Mexico, Latin America, Caribbean, Sparx Services North America is your primary point of contact. The email address is there to go ahead, send us a note. We'd be happy to set up a call to discuss what your needs are and how we can help you. If you're in Europe, Asia, Africa, other parts of the world, the Collaborate team, Nizam's team, is here to help you get started as well, and their contact information is there too. So with that, that actually wraps up the presentation portion of this. We'll open it up to some questions.
Yeah, Thanks, guys. I have a few interesting questions. I guess a lot of people have got pumped up on seeing the new concept. We'll take few questions in this session, and just a reminder to all, we have posted all the questions in the Sparx Systems North America Teams channel. So if you want more clarification or more details, or you want to get in touch with Ryan or Nizam, you can always do it in Teams, but we'll still take up a few questions now. This is from Johnson Troy. He's asking, version updates have broken the functionality with external tools like Confluence in the past. How does the cloud solution that is continuously kept up to date prevent connectivity outages with applications like Confluence?
Shall I?
That is it. Go ahead, Nizam.
Yeah, thanks. So yes, Johnson, that's a very good question. And even with Confluence, for example, as you mentioned, they have two different versions. They have a cloud version and the on-prem version, and they both change in complete, slightly different magnitude, and different features are added and deleted. We have had challenges in the past, but this is one of the reasons why the whole platform is best maintained by people who always keep an eye on it and monitor it. This is going to be a problem for a large number of our audience, and we also need to have, we have the right measures to make sure the version compatibility is tested on a regular basis. So we have a Confluence macro listed in the Atlassian website, as you may already know. And every time there's a new release, we get notified, and then we make sure that the Confluence macro is up to date with the changes from Atlassian. And likewise with, it's going to be a DevOps, or is it going to be Doors? With any of those tools, our team's designated role is to maintain this compatibility. And this is one of the problems that we ought to solve when it's all maintained by a team of experts.
Let me add to that. Yes, a lot of customers experience outages with version updates, either the Sparx software or to the systems they're trying to connect to. When you encounter those, you're solving the problem for the first time. One of the values of working with us to manage your platform in the cloud is that we manage these environments for quite a few companies, which means we see the same challenges over and over again, and we've developed processes to monitor for them, to understand when different software components are changing, to do testing of upgrades outside of your production environment, to make sure that when it comes to updating the Sparx software components, that it's been fully tested ahead of time to verify that it works with your configurations. But most importantly, you're dealing with people who this is their day job to figure this stuff out. It's not something that they do when something breaks. As Nizam said, we have people who are focused on understanding these integrations, monitoring for changes, and assessing what the impacts and changes need to be in order to ensure that your system stays up and running as much as possible.
Okay, so one final interesting, most asked questions. What are the costs involved in setting up this easy to use experience?
That is a great question, and I would actually encourage you to reach out to the folks at either Sparx Services North America or Collaborate. And the reason I say that is because we've seen that each company's implementation is slightly different. In that, you may be looking for something simple for a few users to use, and that's going to be very different than if you're looking for a high availability configuration with multiple pre-production instances and things like that. It also makes a difference whether you want to continue using the EA desktop client or whether you want to move to streaming clients, and if you're looking for the full Sparx Cloud Architecture Platform with Collaborate and all those components, or if you're really just looking for a hosted repository. So there's a number of different configurations available, and the best place to start is by reaching out to either the folks at Sparx North America or Collaborate, and we'll be happy to talk with you about what your needs are and figure out what configuration is going to work best for you.
Okay, perfect. Then I guess we can take up the rest of the questions in the Teams channel. Thanks, guys, for your time, and thank you, Ryan and Nizam, for a great presentation.
Thank you, Madhav. Before we break off, let's remember that there are quite a few other presentations going on throughout the day today. The next one's on application portfolio management and some of the things that are going on there. We also have a discussion later today on integrating architecture and ITSM and why these groups in your company need to work closer together, as well as I'll be doing a demo later today on how to integrate Sparx with ServiceNow to help light up one of those ITSM use cases. So I'd encourage you all to check the site and the agenda for the summit. Lots of great content happening throughout the day today and throughout the week. So we'll look forward to talking with you on the Teams channel and seeing you in the next presentation.
Yeah, a lot of exciting sessions are lined up, guys. We'll meet you again. Thanks a lot, and
Thank you,
have a good day.
Bye.